Hi, Sam here with 7E Wellness, and today I'm going to be doing a treatment with my QT. And I'm also going to be using and I'm going to be talking about the ATP booster mask, which I have here. And I'm going to talk about what that is. So, what is ATP? What does it mean, and how does it benefit us when we're doing a treatment? And then I will answer any questions that you have as well. So let's get started. I already cleansed my skin, so totally clean base. I'm going to go in with my Replenish Spritzer. So this is like my first layer of hydration. I'm just going to mist that generously all over the skin. And so I really like that because it adds that hydration into the skin. It's also got zinc, and so zinc is helping you to conduct that electricity. Of course, microcurrent is electricity, so minerals like zinc are going to help you to get a better result out of the product. This has hyaluronic acid. It has chamomile, so it's soothing on the skin. So really nice. I'm just going to put a little bit more. Now, I like to layer up my serums and stuff before I do a treatment as well. So when you're doing microcurrent, the products that you use really matter. And that's because they're getting pushed into the skin. So they're going deeper into the skin and they're working better. So I'm going to take my eye lift serum. This has some really nice peptides that are stimulating the eye area. They're helping with things like blood circulation and with protecting the collagen around the eyes. This also has caffeine, which is going to brighten up the eye area. So when I apply an eye cream, I like to dot it all around that under eye area. And then I will do one of two things. So I like to take my ring fingers and very delicately just tap that into the skin. And I'll do that for about 30 seconds to a minute. Helps to distribute the product. I also bring it out here where crow's feet will form, because when we treat the eye area, we want to treat out here especially because that area of the skin really needs help as we age. So we apply our eye lift serum. I'm just going to show that one more time. So you can see I am most of the way through this bottle. Love, love, love it. And that is my third that I have gone through. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my anti-aging serum. This is a copper peptide serum. And so when you apply copper peptides to the skin, it's going to increase collagen production, and it's also going to remove excess collagen from the skin. So I'll just go and I'll smooth that down. So not only does that have the copper peptide in there, which gives it that really nice blue color, which you can't see through the bottle. Let me see if I can open her up. But you can see it's tinged blue by the copper that's in there. And so copper, not only is it increasing collagen production, but it is another mineral that is helping us to penetrate that microcurrent into the skin. Okay, perfect. So I just applied that all over, and I included the neck. So anytime you apply your skincare, you want to bring that all the way down. So serum is on, and now we're going to go in with our ATP booster mask. So I have that right here. I'm just going to open the jar. I'm going to take a nice little dollop. It's a little bit more than a quarter-sized amount. And I'm going to just dispense that. I like to put it on the back of my hand. So I got that right here. And I'm going to apply a little bit all over the face. You'll see I'm using my index finger here. You can also use a brush if you like, but this is the easiest way. So this is a conductor gel with minerals to conduct our microcurrent. It's water-based, and so it is going to sink into the skin without blocking the current, and it's going to infuse all of the nutrients into the skin that I'm going to be talking about very soon. So bring this down the neck as well. This has hyaluronic acid, this has glycerin, and so it's deeply hydrating. I've talked about this on stream before, but my skin is really sensitive. I have psoriasis, and so you can even see I have a little bit of redness here, I have a little bit of redness here. And this gel, and really all of the conductor gels from 7E, they've been really gentle and really good to my skin. So you can see I just applied the gel all over. I didn't spend a lot of time rubbing it in because we want that surface of the skin to be like slick and wet here. So now we can bring out our QT. So I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to have it in app-free mode. So first we hold down the on button. It turns on. You'll see that top light is blue. So right now is when it's looking to see if I have the app open. It wants to pair with the app. In 5 seconds, it's going to turn green. There we go. So now it's green. So first, we have 5 minutes where it's on the stretch setting, and then we have 10 minutes where it's on the lift setting. I'm going to start in on the forehead and start to do my movements. So it's just a really simple, smoothing, gliding motion. The microcurrent is talking to the muscles in my face. And so this electricity is telling the muscle to smooth out and to relax. Over time, tension from repetitive motion, basically constantly emoting and expressing with your forehead and raising the eyebrows, it's going to create wrinkles. And so this is one of the ways, as far as non-invasive treatments go, one of the best ways where you can go in and you can undo some of those folds in the muscle. So let me talk a little bit more now about the ATP booster mask. So what is ATP? ATP is energy in the cells. So if you think of a car, it's the gas in the tank that is fueling the car. So without gas or without ATP, you can't drive, and your cells are not able to divide, make collagen, keep out infection, and do all the good stuff that our skin cells and our muscles are supposed to do. So as we age, that ATP in our cells, or that fuel in the tank, it starts to run out. Excuse me. I'm in New York and the pollen count is super high. So I apologize in advance if I sneeze again. As we age, that ATP in the cells, or that gas in the tank, it starts to run out. And studies have shown that when we do microcurrent on the skin and on the muscles, the ATP is being replenished in the cells. So as we start to age, our muscles weaken and they bunch up into wrinkles. Our skin weakens because the collagen degrades and it begins to become like saggy and loose. Giving ATP, or energy, back to those cells is going to make a huge difference in getting you back on track and getting the skin to a point where it looks really youthful again. So what's in here that makes that happen? First of all, microcurrent by itself increases ATP in the cells. Studies have shown it again and again. There's one study that we quote a lot on our website where they determined that after a microcurrent treatment, the ATP in the cell is increased by up to 500%. So that's 5 times more gas in the tank than when you started this little guy for your treatment. So I think that's pretty exciting. Long term, that ATP in the skin is what's going to make the difference. So if you start doing these treatments and then let's say you revisit and you start looking at your skin again in, say, 3 months or 6 months, that's when you really start to see that new collagen coming to the surface. That's when you see things like inflammation going down, pigmentation being reduced. So you can see right now, I'm just using this around the mouth and I'm kind of smoothing out any lip lines. This is also going to be really good for plumping the lips because microcurrent increases circulation. So anytime we increase blood flow around the lips, it helps to plump them up and make them look fuller. The other thing that we're doing, like I mentioned before, Microcurrent pushes product into the skin. So I have hyaluronic acid and other hydrators on the skin. When I push that hyaluronic acid and glycerin, etc., into the lip area here, it's going to hydrate it and it's going to plump it up temporarily. So we're plumping the lips really in two different ways. We're increasing circulation or blood flow to the lips, and we're also increasing hydration. So if you think about like filling up a water balloon, when there's more hydration and the cells have a nice amount of water in them, this whole area is going to look more plump, more lovely, more delicious. So microcurrent, great for the lip area. I'm just using up the last of my 5 minutes on the stretch waveform here. So I'm going to work on my area of concern, which is right between the eyebrows here. And I'm going to spend the rest of my time until this buzzes and changes settings, just smoothing out in here. So what's in the ATP booster mask that makes the effect of microcurrent better and increases that ATP that we've been talking about? The answer is it's a special antioxidant called ergothioneine. So ergothioneine is a naturally occurring antioxidant. We find it in crab meat, we find it in mushrooms, and a few other places in nature. And basically, it's a very small molecule. So it's able to go deep into the skin, it's able to penetrate into the cells. And when it gets there, it gets involved in the process that the cells use to make energy, and it boosts that process. So all of the effects of microcurrent, whether we're talking about improving the quality of the skin, healing damage to the skin, improving the strength or the position of the muscles, that ergothioneine is going to boost that whole process and just give it an extra push so that it works better. So that's one of the things that I really love about this. Ergothioneine is the formulations, and so you got to get it where you can find it. I highly recommend those of you who want to get a little more out of your treatments, and for those of you who find that maybe you've been doing your treatments for a while, you're used to everything, you want to try a little bit of higher quality gel, you want to see if you can get a little more out of the results that you already have. That's when I would think about maybe trying the ATP booster mask. You, just like I did today, can use it in place of conductor gel, which makes it really, really nice. Just as something you can switch out in your routine if you already are used to using one of the other gels. You can also use this alone. So even if you don't have a microcurrent device, you can get a lot of those benefits of increasing ATP in the skin by applying that ATP booster gel on clean skin and let it sit for a good at least 20 minutes so that it can really sink in. Of course, even better if you have the microcurrent, because as we know, microcurrent is pushing the product deeper, and so it's going to work better. And that also goes for the serum and the eye gel that we put on earlier. So another thing that I can point out is that while I'm doing microcurrent, my skin is going to get red or it's going to get a little pink in certain areas. Like I mentioned, my skin is quite sensitive. So over here, I'm kind of pinking up. That's totally normal. That'll go away within a few minutes of me stopping this treatment. And really, it's just showing some of that extra blood circulation that is coming up to the surface as I do microcurrent. Okay, beautiful. So you can see my skin is also a little dehydrated. The gel is kind of sinking in. And so I might even go in with my spritzer and mist a little bit more in the area if I feel like it's getting a little dry or a little prickly. And then it will go right back to being comfortable. So I really like to use this on the jawline. It helps to increase that tightness by stimulating the platysma, which is the muscle that wraps all around your jaw here, and it helps to create some more lift. So I'm just lifting and then holding it in place. It's like we're lifting up the muscle and then saying, okay, now stay here. And then we're creating that elevated position for the muscle to now sit at. So this treatment is totally comfortable for me. Microcurrent should be comfortable. If you feel any prickly sensations, if you see that you're visibly twitching, those are signs that you want to turn it down. So sometimes I'll get questions from people basically saying, I used to use a different device. I remember it feeling really intense and prickly. This one feels a little different or more or less. Is that a bad thing? And realistically, it's not. The way that you feel microcurrent, it's going to be different from person to person. And even for you, it can be different from season to season or during different times of your life. So as long as you see that the current is conducting in the skin, and we show you that right with the light here. So you can see right now it's blinking because it's not on my skin. Once I place that back on my skin, it's going to go solid again. So that light is going to be solid, and I know that I'm getting the full benefits of the treatment. So this is one of my other favorite movements. Like I said earlier, love smoothing out in my forehead here, but I also love to scoop that apple of the cheek because you're lifting the corner of the mouth, you're opening up that nasolabial fold, and you're creating some definition. So I tend to get a little bit of hanging here. This really helps to mitigate that and helps to make me feel a little more sculpted. Not only can I scoop this upwards, I can also bring it outwards. So I'm going diagonally along the face. And you can see that kind of scoops and it creates that facelift effect. I'm just going to walk my way over. So personally, I do really like the ATP booster mask in place of conductor gel. One of the things that I do for 70 Wellness is I do a lot of training for our spa professionals. And we have a number of spas who do prefer to use the ATP booster mask instead of using the Renew or the Restore conductor gel. And the main reasoning behind that is because they want something that is a little bit more active in terms of the ingredients. They want to boost their results and they want to get more out of the treatments that they're doing. So if somebody is only coming, let's say once or twice a month, they want to get the absolute most out of it. And the ATP booster mask is one of the ways that you can do that. So it definitely elevates your treatment. It makes it a little more sophisticated. And it can really boost the results that you'll see as a result of doing the treatment. So now I'm going to go into the eyebrow, and I like to pick that up and hold it. So this is really nice if you have a hooded eye like I do. So if you look on the right side here, my eye is partially hooded, so you can see a little bit of that upper eyelid, but there is a hood that hangs down and covers the rest of the eyelid. It used to be worse. And with doing microcurrent regularly, I definitely think that I have a little more definition in that little sliver of visible eyelid that I do have. Didn't always have that. So that's been really cool and really nice for me, especially as a makeup wearer. If you want your eyelids to be seen sometimes, this can be nice to bring them out. So I just do a little wiggle because it helps release the muscle if it's tight, and then I push that upwards. The other thing I can do is I can grab the head of the eyebrow and then kind of slide outwards with it into the temple. Another favorite move of mine because it really creates lift in here. So you can see that angle of the eyebrow. It starts to come up a little higher. This is something that will become more pronounced as you continue to do your treatments. So I'm going to jump over to the other side now. I did a little bit of lifting here, so I'm just going to go in to the apple of the cheek and even myself out a little bit. Now, how quickly does microcurrent work? It's going to vary for different parts of the face. So I feel like the eye area tends to give it away very quickly. The muscles around the eye are really thin and really delicate, and so they respond more readily to the microcurrent. You definitely see them kind of jump up a little faster. As far as areas like the lower face where I'm working now, this is an area where the tissue is a little thicker. So it's a little meatier. We have some fat there. We have more muscle tissue. Um, it can take a little longer for you to see results in meatier areas of the face like this. So I would keep that in mind if your main concern is in the cheeks or in the jowls. It can take a couple of sessions to really get in there and be able to influence things. Um, some of you, however, might see results right away. Long term is the key. That's when you're going to see the magic happen, and that's when you're going to see things become a little bit more permanent. So I actually feel like the corners of my mouth are naturally a little uneven. This side is lower for me, so I'm going to do a little extra here. I'll come back to that. Just want to push up the eyebrow a little bit. But that's just giving you an insight into my thought process as I'm doing my microcurrent treatment. I'm thinking about what parts of my face are asymmetrical, because all of us are a little asymmetrical. And so, for example, the right corner of my lip is lower. And so I'm going to push that one up with this lift setting more. And I might leave the other side alone a little bit more so that I can help to even them out. So same goes with these two eyebrows. I think this eyebrow for me tends to be a touch lower. And so I'm not going to work quite as hard on this side because I want them to be a little more even. And then we'll come back to that corner of the mouth. So you can even hold your device sideways like this so that one ball is above and one is below. And then you can kind of cheat that corner upwards and then really focus. And there's my beat. So I think I timed that perfectly. My device just turned off. So that's 15 minutes total in our treatment. You can see it's not perfect, but it is a little bit better. We are not symmetrical creatures. We can strive for that and we can work towards it. But the reality is we are still imperfect. If you were perfectly symmetrical, you'd look really unnerving, like uncanny valley. And so be thankful for your little imperfections. You're never going to be mathematically even with everything in every single part of your face. And that's what makes you interesting to look at and what makes you striking and unique. And so it's not always a bad thing. I think when it comes to doing something like microcurrent, it's about bringing out the health of your skin and the health of your muscles. It's about taking what you have and really just maintaining it, taking care of it, as opposed to, changing your whole face so that you can look a certain way if maybe you're feeling inadequate. This is a way to put some love and care into yourself that is constructive and not destructive. So I'm just going to touch on it one more time. The star of today's show, obviously other than the MyoLift QT, which I used to do my treatment, was the ATP booster mask. So I've got that right here. That is available separately on 70wellness.com. If you sign up for our newsletter, you can always get 15% off. All you have to do is go to our website and you give us your email. We send you a little newsletter and then you get your discount. So always something for you to consider if you're thinking about maybe trying a new product. If you are an owner of a MyoLift microcurrent device already, you can integrate this into your treatment really easily. If you don't have a microcurrent device, I highly recommend the MyoLift QT. Like I said, microcurrent is to maintain the health of the skin and the muscles. So at any age or any stage that your skin is in, it's still going to be helpful either to help your skin repair or so that you can stockpile that energy in the cells for when you're going to need it later on in life. If you are not someone who can use microcurrent for whatever reason, maybe you're contraindicated, you can still use the ATP booster mask with that ergothioneine as the main ingredient, and you can get some of those similar benefits of boosting the energy in the skin if you use it as a moisturizer or as a hydrating facial mask. Also really nice for after sun exposure because it helps to heal and cool down the skin. Pop that in the fridge and it's such a nice treatment. But Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed watching and following along with my treatment. I'm going to take a quick look to see if there are any questions in the chat. I don't think that there are. No, so I'm not seeing any at the moment. Well, thank you again for tuning in. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend and that you can find a little bit of time to do some self care.